Okay, so I just finished the newest Nico book, and wow, I have thoughts. Lots of them. This isn't going to be a super organized visual heavy review, this is just me word vomiting my thoughts after my first read through. So expect a lot of I love this, bro what, and random questions Rick will never answer. I love Naomi so much. Like, immediately she became one of my favorite things in this book. She has so much personality, and yeah, Will definitely got his personality from her. I love how genuinely warm she is, and it's so obvious that she's definitely Apollo's type. I literally found myself smiling whenever she appeared. She's the kind of character who brings light to heavy scenes, which is exactly what this book needed at times. But, mixed in with the stuff I loved, there were some moments that had me going, uh-huh. Like, damn, spelled D-A-M. Again, really, Rick? It's funny, sure, but it kinda threw me off. Small things like this make me double take because Nico wasn't even there when that joke was originally made. The right way to bring it back was when Percy references it back in Marco of Athena. That was perfect. Here, it felt weird. Especially since these books don't usually have swearing either. It threw me off so bad, and not in a good way. Then there's stuff like gang and bro. I can maybe get behind Will saying this, but Nico? I mean, I cannot see it, and believe me, I tried. I blinked at the page multiple times. I guess it's meant to feel casual, but it just doesn't sit right in the established world. It dates the book so fast, like how in Titan's Curse, Bianca just quoted as, she correctly named the current president. That clearly shows that this world is meant to be a floating, timeless environment, and it does not work changing that now. And another weird sentence. Why did people have to behave badly? Ugh, what? I don't even know why, but it's genuinely so off, and it's stuck in my head for all the wrong reasons. It genuinely feels like a fanfiction sentence, and no, not the good ones in AO3, the cringe trash ones. It makes me reflect on how much I actually appreciate Nico's original style of dialogue, which brings me to... One reason I love the Nico novels is his speech patterns. It's written like someone who learned English from a textbook 70 years ago, which he literally did. That's part of why I don't like slang in his POV. It's so refreshing to read Nico and not have modern speech peppered in, so when it happens, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Same goes for Hazel and the few other characters like this. You could argue that this is showing Nico integrating into the modern world, but I still don't like it. Rick has two types of POVs, Quippy and Nico. Let Nico stay Nico, please. Speaking of Nico, I've seen a lot of discussion online about him not being in character. And honestly, that's the point. Yes, it's a little weird for us readers to see him suddenly able to cry and spill his emotions. After all, it's only been like 5 seconds in fan time since we've seen him as an emo loner. But in reality, it's been a while since the traumatic events he went through. There are a few months between this book and the last, and Nico has been going to therapy and recovering. So, of course he's going to be more open and honest about his feelings. Sure, it's a little weird to see him break down crying, but it's also really heartwarming and truly shows that he's healing. I have always known in my heart that Nico is mischievous, and him cheating by shadow traveling only validates this. He's confident in his powers, enjoys scaring people sometimes, and the book doesn't turn him into an overly soft hero. I like that. It keeps the edge that he's gained over the years. Reminds me of Starlight Glimmer from My Little Pony. Even after she is reformed, she still always had an edge to her that I think sets her apart from the rest of the main six. There wasn't much new Solangelo development besides meeting the mom, which is fine. That's not what this book was for, and it's literally what the last book was about anyway. But while we didn't necessarily need more development, I wish we'd seen what came out of previous growth instead of just being told. Most of the time, it's stuff like, Nico loves it when he and his boyfriend got in the same wavelength, which seems to happen more and more frequently these days. Cute, yes, but it's telling, not showing. The way I would have written it is them finishing each other's sentences, or like going back and forth and naturally formulating a plan that way. One shining moment we actually do get, Nico putting his hand on his heart to silently signal, good luck, love you. That small gesture says so much about how far they've come, and I wish there was more of those moments sprinkled throughout. Also, Sassy Solus continues to be my absolute favorite. Like in the scene, Will murmured to Nico, "Read this bad when we started? When did you get so mean?" Nico whispered back. Most people think Will is this super sunny, bright, always positive guy, but that's just not true, and it's not fair to Rick or Oshiro if you dislike him for being his canon self. The subtle Colangelo moment, the smirks, the teasing, the shared gestures, that's what I live for and what we needed more of. We also need more of Will's archery. At the start, he can barely hit a bullseye, and then suddenly at the end of the book, he can shoot multiple arrows at once with the perfect aim. A slow build-up would have been way more satisfying, or at least starting him at a slightly higher skill level. Since months have passed anyway, that would have been more believable. His godly genetics kicking in is not satisfying enough of a reason to suddenly give him another skill. I love that he's getting power, but I don't love the way that it was written. And speaking of that, where were his plague powers? Did they just completely forget about the nuances of the last book? I was really excited to see them explore Will being uncomfortable with his new power, because of course he would be. He has repeatedly stated many times that he's uncomfortable with the idea of hurting people, which I believe is why he didn't bring a weapon to Tartarus in the first book. It seems like such a perfect gateway to exploring Will's moral compass, which is actually something that they did pretty well in The Sun and the Stars, so why not here? I thought that they were sowing the seeds for something great to change about Will in this book, but I guess not. Where was Will's POV? I'm sorry, but I don't really give a crap about Hazel. Where the actual hell is Will? There was really no need to extend our arc with POV chapters. If they had time to include a character that was already a main character in a previous 5-book series, why couldn't they have expanded a character that just started getting fleshed out in the previous book? Will is obviously not going to get his own POV book or arc, and this is really their only chance. You know how I would have fixed it? Will gets trapped in a weird mist dome thing instead of Hazel. I don't mind Hazel being there, but I think the chapter should have been in Will's POV. It would have been so much more interesting to have Will's moral compass be a little bit confused, instead of a character who we all know to be quite empathetic already. Apollo, too. Since Hades appears in both books, why not him? Couldn't Apollo have appeared even briefly to show off that shining cool development he gained in Trials of Apollo? What if Apollo was the one who did something to make the Court of the Dead mad at him, which is why they ended up going after his son, and then Will and Hazel get trapped in the dome and Nico is left alone without both of them. I'm not saying I could write this book better, but you take what you will. Based on the synopsis that we got from the authors before the book was released, I really thought that Will was going to have a way bigger part to play in all of this. Obviously, Nico was connected because of the whole Ghost Gang Son of the Dead thing, and Hazel, admittedly surprised me but in a good way, was connected because she technically is not supposed to be alive, but Pluto let her stay in the mortal world after the war with Gaia. But Will, man, I really thought he was going to be connected in some super cool, unique way, which he just wasn't. And really, where were all the powers in general? Nico's a straight-up necromancer, yet most of the book shows him fighting with a sword instead, when he had mainly used his powers previously. Especially since he had just started to physically recover, you'd think he'd be more excited about having more stamina to exercise. Will is just starting to accept needing a weapon, which is good, but overall, the magical abilities that we know they have are barely showing up. It's frustrating because we know they're capable of so much. I kept imagining what epic battles could have looked like if all that potential was actually explored. One thing I did like was seeing the mist more, not just with Hazel, but also seeing its dangerous side. Hazel seems to be improving, which is a nice touch. But can anyone use the mist? I assume big 3 kids and children of Hecate can, so why weren't Percy, Nico, or Jason, when he was alive, taught? Thalia uses it in Book 3, so the children of Jupiter/Zeus are fair game for sure. Why has Nico not been taught yet? Why was Percy not taught when he had that massive prophecy coming out that decided the fate of Olympus? And if there's no restriction on who can use the mist, why is everyone not taught at least the basics? Classic Rick. He gets this cool world-building crumbs and then refuses to elaborate. The new characters were interesting, but still pretty forgettable. I don't even remember half their names anymore as I'm writing this, and I just didn't care, the book didn't make me care, or maybe I'm a Chaos freak, who knows. And I wish they were a little more connected to the narrative. I did like that. Okay, honestly, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so I'm just going to call her Ariel. But I did like Ariel being Kelly's sister who couldn't charm speak. Though it does make me wonder, would she be just as evil as her sister if she had the same power she did? I don't think that the book answers this question, at least not properly enough. In general, I wish that these new characters didn't just come out of nowhere. I feel like Savannah should have been mentioned, even in passing earlier. Just a quick line about a girl who is particularly strong-willed or targeting. I wish they had, instead of just adding new characters, brought background ones into more prominence, the way that they did with Will. I did like seeing not all the characters being as accepting as Nico and Will, because of course, no one's going to change their philosophies in one day. Also, why is Tartarus himself okay with the Mythics doing this? He got super pissed at Damocin and House of Hades for helping Percy and Annabeth, so I would guess he would do something or act against the Mythics considering he hates positive emotions. I'm also surprised that Nyx didn't try something. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that she didn't. I just don't think that they could have written her well enough, but it does seem like an easy, cheap cop-out, so I am glad that they didn't go that route. The new tech is also pretty cool, admittedly, and I think they brought up the whole no tech thing again, but then that makes me wonder when exactly this book is supposed to be set with all the pop culture references and whatnot. Let's talk about quotes, because of course I have thoughts. Quote 1. Will smiled. Occasionally, my boyfriend has a brilliant idea. There was no reason for Nico to blush. He blushed anyway. The word occasionally is throwing me off. Feels like something Annabeth would say, not Will. Just, why? This is another thing that sticks in my head for all the wrong reasons. Quote 2. Will laughed nervously. Don't know about that, but I am getting better. I can hit the bullseye more often now. On purpose, even. Nico waved off his comment. You're a child of Apollo. It's clearly coming naturally to you. Besides, we all have to start somewhere, right? Haven't I used that exact logic on you before? Will asked. And now I'm weaponizing it, Nico said with a smirk. Oh my god, Hazel's voice broke through their conversation. Are you two going to be this sickeningly cute tonight? Deal with it, said Nico. Hazel calling them sickeningly cute, Nico saying deal with it, Nico smirking and weaponizing Will's logic. All adorable, very dem, I really like this quote. Another cute quote is, right, Nico sucked in a deep breath. I think you all know me. You're my boyfriend, said Will, winking at him. Nico blushed. Why was he blushing? Why does Will always make him blush? 'Cause you like him? I'm living for this dynamic. Quote 4. He studied Will, whose t-shirt and cargo pants were still steaming. What was that? Nico demanded. The light, the fire. Will looked embarrassed. Dunno. I got angry. Well, it was hot. Will shrugged. I am the son of the sun god. That's not what I meant, said Nico. I'm not sure how to feel about Nico calling Will hot, because it doesn't feel like something he'd actually say. But at the same time, it does work, and he's right. So it's weird, but it's cute, and it's a really nice callback to Thalia in Book 3. Quote 5. Nico had never died, though not for lack of trying. Hello? Was Nico, explicitly suicidal before? Did I miss something? I feel stupid, but also very shocked. Quote 6. He sat on the bench, trying not to feel exposed in just his t-shirt and jeans. I hope you know how much that jacket means to me. It'd been with me through, pretty much everything. It's half my personality at this point. I hope it shows you how much I need your help. Nico talking about a jacket meaning everything to him was so real. I'm so glad he didn't lose it, and by the way, he was talking to Hades here. Quote 7. Honey? Nico stammered. Yes, Will asked. Yes, Johan asked. This just feels weird. I don't think that I really need to explain this, but this is definitely Yoshiro writing. The context for this one is Nico says honey, and Johan is talking about actual honey, but Will is talking about the pet name, so. And then, a son of Hestia and a daughter of Minerva. Seriously? Rick's world building sometimes just makes me go triple question mark, but it's part of the fun, I guess. It's obvious that Nico is confident with his powers and didn't turn into some overly soft hero. Seeing him grow, express his emotions more, and stay true to himself, that was very nice. I also did like the message that they were attempting to send about questioning what makes a person monstrous. I like this message a lot, even if they were kind of shoving it down our throats. I like the theme of second chances, or redemption, and atoning for your crimes. However, I do wish they had it humanized a Minotaur. The same Minotaur who, last we saw, killed many demigods during the last Olympian and was decorating his axe with the canopies of the killed demigods. For me, it ruins the significance of Percy defeating him when he was 12 in the first place. Also, a small patch of Tartarus just growing in Camp Jupiter. Am I the only one who thinks that this could go really, really badly? Overall, I enjoyed this book. Yes, there were moments that made me go, bro, what? And yes, some choices were weird or felt out of place, but I still had a good enough time. Seeing Naomi shine, Nico being a little more open and mischievous, and Sassy Solus continues to be great. I was disappointed in certain aspects. I still have a million questions about powers, the mist, and random world-building stuff Rook will probably never answer. But honestly, I have given up on that. This book made me laugh, made me go aw, and make me shake my head, and it did make me fangirl, just a little, all at the same time. Though, to be honest, I probably wouldn't like this book as much if Nico wasn't the main character. What can I say? I'm biased. For Nico though, not for nostalgia. If you're a Nico fan, you're probably gonna love it too. Just maybe keep your gang and pop culture expectations in check.